Hello and welcome to the Housing Minute. My name is Samuel Gunter. I'm the Executive Director of the North Carolina Housing Coalition, and there is a lot that we could be talking about right now. Coming out of the federal government shutdown, how resources are going to flow, questions about backlog from the shutdown, and so on. You can read all of that in Housing Matters, and we'll probably be communicating a bit more regularly than normal over the next couple of days, given everything that's going on. But for right now, we're going to take a minute to talk about the increased federal immigration enforcement actions that are currently happening in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in the Triangle, as well as a couple of other communities here in the state. For those of you who heard that and immediately thought, that's not a housing issue, it absolutely is a housing issue. When 21,000 kids in Charlotte's public school system don't show up to school because their families are scared, or 90 kids in my kids' school here in North Durham don't show up because they are scared, that is a housing issue. If you cannot live in safety and security, that is absolutely a housing issue. And our mission at the North Carolina Housing Coalition is to lead a movement to ensure that every North Carolinian has a home in which to live with dignity and opportunity. It absolutely is a housing issue. And so what we're going to talk about today, and you'll find more details in Housing Matters and in the notes to this video, is what your rights are for those of you who manage and own properties. For the universe of people that are members of the Housing Coalition who own and manage properties. At the outset, I have to say, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm definitely not your lawyer. So if you've got one, you should consult with them as well. But I think it's important to note that you have the same rights as any business to refuse entry to federal immigration enforcement officials if they do not have, and this is key, a signed judicial warrant looking for someone specific. They need a signed judicial warrant, not an administrative warrant signed by an ICE agent, a signed judicial warrant. If they do not have that, you can refuse entry to your properties. I think a helpful way, in talking with some folks earlier this morning, a helpful way to think through this is if you can trespass someone, you can refuse entry as well. Again, they need a signed judicial warrant. There's going to be more detail in this, in the fact sheet that we put out in Housing Matters. And again, there's so much more detail on all of the things federal housing policy, resource related coming out of the shutdown. There's also going to be in Housing Matters that is going to be critical for you to know. But it is important right now, especially at this heightened moment here in our state, for folks to understand that you have rights and a role to play to keep your communities safe. Thank you all. Thank you for the work that you do. We'll see you next time.